Hey, what's going
Yeah.
on, y'all? I thought it started off pretty good. I think the longer it went on, it kind of dragged a little bit. The main event, though, I think really all kind of brought it back together or whatever. So it was a pretty good SmackDown, though. It's still one of the best shows I think they got on WWE television. So it was pretty good.
I gotta disagree with Cam. It definitely started off good with that. I agree with that. I didn't really feel the drag, honestly. I felt like everything had a solid pace. It wasn't the best pace, but I felt like the pace was good enough for SmackDown. That main event, though,
Yeah,
on
I
point.
mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. That was
Aw,
yeah.
man. Shadow just told me my mic wasn't working the entire time. Jesus. Missed everything that I was saying.
Jeez.
Alright. Thank you, Shadow. I appreciate that. So, what I was just saying is, I felt that this show, the only 2 points that had kind of dragged throughout the night was the Xia Li and Tegan Knox match and the Rey Mysterio and Karrion Cross segment. And then I pointed out that the Bray Wyatt promo was very old school feelish, Eater of Worlds, especially with the rocket chair in the ring. It was so good.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. It was pretty dope.
I got a confession to make. The one thing I didn't watch was the Xia Li match, so I can't agree or disagree on that. So
You didn't miss much. That's all I'm gonna say. You
okay,
didn't miss.
cool. But
So
yeah, this show was really great.
I loved the Xia Li character. I just, I don't know, the fans really weren't into the match, and I felt that hurt it.
I just don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about Xia Li. It's just like I feel like by now there should have been more. There should be more development with her character. There's just no. It's hard for me to get into certain wrestlers or certain characters or whatnot that I don't feel like are progressing the way they should. So I just feel like Xia Li's been around long enough now that we should see we should have a deeper connection as fans with whatever she's trying to do or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe she'll grow on me. Maybe she will eventually develop. But I don't know. That's my problem with Xia Li. Just I don't get her whole character, or I don't understand what she's trying to be character wise.
Oh, I can definitely agree with that. I mean, it's not for everybody her character. It was great when she first started, and now I just feel like there's nothing that's evolved from it.
Right. Yeah. That's definitely stunting her growth. I think so. And I can't really talk about her in ring work because I haven't really seen her wrestle that much. And like Prince, I really didn't watch. I really didn't pay close attention to that particular match. Um, but like I said, because I remember when she was fresh in the scene, and again with her everything that she did in the ring, with the entrance and everything, and the character work, she just seemed different. She seemed okay. She seemed fresh. Now I looked at that and I went, okay, this is something new. This is something we haven't seen. especially within the female the women's roster. Now it's just like since then it's just like there hasn't been any progression in it. I don't. So it's just weird. She's in a weird spot on SmackDown. So yeah, I kind of suggest putting her. I don't know, maybe in a tag team or something like that, because at least that gives her something to do. Because right now I think she's kind of drowning, being a singles wrestler on her own. So
I just put a poll up. What does everybody in the chat think of the best part of SmackDown tonight? We have forgot to mention the opening IC title match in anything we've said so far. And
right.
It was a lot better than I thought it was going to be, especially considering it had Braun and Gunther in it, and they're two very big men, so it's kind of limits what they can do.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They handled it really well. The back and forth, seeing Braun be handled the way he was by Gunther was truly amazing. I felt that Braun did a great job when it came to selling for Gunther and vice versa. And the way when you focus on Braun's face in that match, you see the pain in his face. You see the perfect sell. I think it was great for what we got. Like you said, Scales, it was definitely better than I thought it was gonna be, and I was all for that match. And I'd be happy to watch that match again. I had no problem with that. That's why I think that right there was a great way of starting a match. I mean, great way of starting a show, and it really was better than I ever thought it would be.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I was very reluctant to seeing this match happen because the build up to it, it almost seemed as if they were pushing towards
Braun winning.
Braun winning, exactly. I did not want that at all. I'm not the biggest fan of Braun Strowman at all. So
Shadow, stop making me drink.
And I just did not want to see that happen. So I wasn't quite sure how their chemistry in the ring would work. And like you said, Cal, it's two bigger guys, and it limits what they do in the ring. But I'll say this: so it worked in putting Braun over in a way because you rarely ever see Braun like in pain or in a position where he's up against a greater opponent than himself. So being put up against someone as dominant as Gunther and it's showcasing the ability that Gunther has, just it made Braun more like it humanized him more. So it put him over even more versus him being this unstoppable force that never gets hurt, that never experiences pain and things like that. So I think it worked in both ways. And it also worked in Gunther's case for the same reason, because you rarely ever see the opponents that Gunther faces ever pick him up and power slam him, and and have him on the ropes and in danger of losing the IC title. So I thought it was a great match, honestly. So it just proves that Gunther just has chemistry with anybody in the ring, and he's just a universal talent, I think.
He's a ring general.
Exactly.
I just wish Braun would get rid of the running around the ring and going.
Yeah, I would do that too. Yeah, that's for sure.
Everything else about his character seems like it fits him. That's from when he had the train locomotive, and time to get rid of that. Time to move on. I did like the little touch that he did with his boots tonight, with those Green Bay boots that he was wearing.
Yeah, that was a good touch. I like that.
So overall, I mean, SmackDown to me, I felt was a pretty good show. Oh, did you guys catch the QR code that came on the screen before Bray Wyatt's promo?
I did not, but I'm in a Snapchat like group chat or whatever with people like Kyle and some of the guys from TikTok or whatever, and they sent that in the group chat, and I watched it back, and I was like, "Yo, that's crazy."
I slow-mode my screen, my TV, because I have the DVR, so I paused it, slow-mode it, and then I caught the QR code and watched it. I was so hyped.
See,
Yeah,
now
that-
I can relate
Shadow
to
got
that.
mad at me for sending it to him because he wasn't watching at the time.
I kind of want to go back and watch it now, but I don't know because I want to let all this unfold without knowing anything. I feel like as wrestling fans today, we know more than what we should. I think with something like this should be taken the way it's been given. Just let it
I
slowly
know,
burn.
but the QR code, everything that he's introduced as the White Rabbit, it picked up and it's so good. It just adds so much to it because they can do little snippets like what they did tonight.
Fair enough.
I
Okay.
could send you the link, Prince, so you can watch it. It's literally like 10 seconds, if that.
Okay. All right. Okay. See, now, when they time stuff like that out to be a certain amount of time, like if it's anything more than, I'm gonna tell you this, if it's anything more than like 60 seconds, it's too much, way too much. That's my issue with things like that. It's like don't if it's something like 10, 20-second video, fine. Anything more than like 30, 40, 50 seconds, that's too much. You gotta know when to give us enough, but not too much. Not at that time, at least.
right.
So
Transitioning from that, don't mean to cut you off, Scout, but transitioning from that, I've got to talk about it just because it's in my notes. But I think Scout, you had mentioned it earlier. I don't know if they caught it because I think your mic was off. But um, the Karrion Kross and Rey Mysterio story, I'm loving right now. Like I don't know why, but it's like, and you know what's funny too is this sounds weird, but it's like I don't really want to see them wrestle because it just looks ridiculous because it's just like in my head I'm like Rey Mysterio doesn't stand a chance. Like Karrion Kross is built like a stack of bricks. Like it, But I'm loving the story that they're telling though because again I think this is the best story work that I think Karrion Kross has done so far. He did. I liked the story with him and Drew. The matches were more like, strong style or like, knock down, beat 'em up. Like they were rough, brutal matches. And then and so it was so that feud and that story focused more on the physicality of those two. This one is more of a story that they're telling, and yeah, I'm loving it. Like it's definitely getting Karrion Kross over more. First of all, I'm a huge fan of Karrion Kross right now, but it's getting him over more because it's telling without having to have a whole bunch of like theatrics and lighting and smoke and mirrors and all this stuff. It's just him just being able to just be a serious yet dark character without all of that. Just him being able to just talk and get over the story between him and Ray. I'm loving it. So I don't know where it's going, but I'm liking the way it's playing out.
So overall, what was your thoughts on the show tonight? If you would give it a rating out of 5,
Out of 5, I would
or if
give
you
it.
want to do, or if you want to do 10, whichever one you want to do.
Oh, we can do 5.
Okay.
Out of 5, I think I would give it a 4.2 out of 5.
I give it a 4.5. Honestly, I thought it was really great.
I was going to give it roughly about a 4.25, so I think we're all in the same boat on this one. We all enjoyed it. Obviously, there are some ups and downs, but overall, it was a decent showing tonight from SmackDown. I'm curious to see what the ratings will come out. Probably not until Tuesday because of the holiday on Monday, but I'm curious to see how they will come out.
There is one thing I do want to bring up about the main event, if you guys don't mind, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, what I loved about the main event was seeing how Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn went back and forth. Not only that, the one thing I gotta take away is towards the end. We saw, I forget who it was I forget if it was Jimmy or Jay, but anyways, saw one of them come in the ring, the rest of the bloodline came with him, right? all that whole time when that was going on, if you look at Sammy, he's very upset. He's conflicted. He's being torn apart. And this is why it's so great to have Roman be telling him to do it on his own. He knows that Sammy is very conflicted when it comes to Kevin Owens and the whole bloodline situation. He doesn't want Kevin a part of this because that's his best friend for what, 20 years? I mean, so see your best friend like that, you know, you're part of the bloodline. The bloodline has issues with Kevin Owens, therefore you do too. But you knew going into this that this was going to happen. And yes, the bloodline did go to Monday Night Raw and tore shit up. Therefore, that's why we got Kevin Owens. Therefore, we got this match. So therefore, it's Roman's fault. Roman is setting up this plan perfectly, and it's going according to plan. This is awesome. This is a great way of getting Sammy out of the bloodline. This is perfect. I can't wait to see this, but at the same time, I can wait because I don't want to see it end. But at the same time, it's more like I want to see it end because I want to see how it ends, and I'm getting amped up over it. I think it's friggin' fantastic.
No, I agree. I do like what they're doing in regards to this. Sammy is very conflicted because he wanted to do it on his own, and I think he was a little annoyed at the bloodline for stepping in. So I'm curious as to how this is going to continue and how it's going to grow.
Next week, this is one of those is where it's now we start taking it. I feel like we're gonna have to start taking this week by week now.
Yep.
With Sammy bloodline. So now we're at the point where I feel like we're at the nail biting stage where it's like, all right, is this the week? Like, is this the week everyone's gonna be glued to their TV screen like this, not taking their friggin' eye off the screen because they're like, oh, I missed that 1 second. What happened? Let me go back and watch it. Rewatch it because they need that little bit of detail. This is a great story right here, and sadly, we do know it's gonna come to an end. We just don't know when. But it's week by week at this point.
All right, so we're gonna move on to what, Dynamite next, Nate, Cam?
Yeah, we can move on to Dynamite.
Okay, so before we do that, just a nice little plug over here. We have our off the top merch. We just have some new additions. If you notice right below me, there is Prince's new logo that was made by one of our members, Shadow. There is a ton of merch online for him if you are interested in this. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. Just check it out. You like something? Buy it. It goes to support our podcast. So, Dynamite. I mean, we're only 2 shows into the year, but it was the best one of the year. Like,
for sure, absolutely. I absolutely love this Dynamite. I love the crowd especially. I mean, the crowd just absolutely poured just immense amounts of energy into this entire show. So yeah, I can't disagree with that. That it's the second show of the year, and I mean, it's probably the best one, obviously, because it was everything. It's just perfect.
So I threw another poll in the chat for the best part of Dynamite. I put 4 options in there. People are in here if you want to vote. Go ahead. There's just so much that happened. There was the ups, the downs, the great moments, and then the disappointment. It's like there was so much to take in, and I mean, you had a big return from a person that's been out. And if you've read everything, he was listed on the rundown as a TBD. Like they didn't tell anybody that he was going to be there.
Crazy.
Like, that's just insane. Like he's supposed to be one of your top people, and you're going to not tell anybody that he's showing up. Like,
right?
Come on. The pop though was amazing for him.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. And everything he said in his return too was crazy. Like I didn't even know I don't think any of us knew any of what he was going through during the time of his injury and his recovery process. That was insane. Like,
Because they never told us what was really injured.
right. I mean, there were rumors that it was, a bad head injury of sorts.
Right.
That was about it. But just seeing the road to his recovery and what he went through during that time period was just insane. And I mean, like I said, if this proves that if he's not, if they don't push him to being a babyface now, I mean, that's a missed opportunity. If you ask
Absolutely.
me.
Yep. 100% agree.
This is his road to recovery. This is his, his redemption, if you will, stories, and that has babyface written all over it. So why not capitalize on that? So yeah, it was awesome. I'm a huge Adam Cole fan, so it was unexpected for me to see it. So I'm loving it, and yeah, big things to come from Adam Cole. So
I think with this Adam Cole thing, I'm glad they didn't tell us. I feel that would have not given that. I think it wouldn't have given that big of a pop. It would have given a big pop.
Oh, he gets a pop no matter what.
Definitely. But I think with people knowing beforehand, it would have been like, I know he's coming back. So, you know what I mean? I just feel like it's better to not know. I feel that both part, honestly, that adds a genuine feel to it.
Yeah, but they had a missed opportunity to where if they announced he was coming, I bet you more people would have watched because of the people that he has as a follower.
that's a fact.
So,
and I'll say this too.
And if they
I hear-
teased what he said, even more people would have watched. Sorry, Kim.
Right. No, but I'll say this. I hear a lot about people that say like, they want the surprises. They want, and I understand that. I get that because that is a big part of the reason we love pro wrestling, right? But and I understand that, but at the same time, even with people knowing, like there could be, I don't know, 20, 25 people in the crowd with, Adam Cole signs or whatever, them reading the reports and things like that of him coming back, knowing he's going to come back. And I don't think it's really going to affect their excitement, whether they know it or they don't know it. I think he's, you know what I'm saying? Like whoever returns, if they're a big name and they've been gone a significant amount of time from injury, and they know and they know they're coming back, they're going to pop regardless. So
Yeah.
I don't think it takes the excitement out of it at all. So regardless, it's Adam Cole. They love Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Adam Cole, baby!
That pop was awesome. It really was.
Yeah.
I think the best one, though, was when he first showed up in Dynamite. Like, when he showed up in AEW at the pay-per-view. Except it was overshadowed by who came out less than 30 seconds later, essentially, in Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Or Bryan Danielson, sorry. Still a habit.
Yeah, I still do that all the time.
Now, I want to talk about this main event. Now, first off, they didn't need to win. You did not need the Elite winning these belts back. Because now it looks like, yes, they had 7 matches, they went through the whole thing, but it looks like they were just handed its belts back because they had them when they first won them. Make them go fight other people to get back up there as if they weren't given these titles back. And that you can't have a ladder match in 15 minutes. I'm sorry. Like, that was too short of a time to do a ladder match. Like, you need a good 25 half hour for a match like that. Because there were so many spots and they try to cramp them all into that time frame. And
I'll tell you this. I'll say this though. I think they did pretty good with the time they were given though, because it felt longer.
no,
So many had. It felt a lot longer.
I agree. They did a great job. It was a great, enjoyable match. I just wish it was given more time because it felt rushed.
There.
Now, I was always under the impression that you had to get all the titles off of the thing before the match was over. I didn't realize you just needed to get one.
It's just one.
Because with the trios, that's stupid. Because you still have to take 2 other belts off. They should have been able to knock you down, and the winner has to get all 3. Or whoever has the most at the end wins. Like, that's a little wrinkle that they could add into it.
Well then, I think it'd be a bit ridiculous because then you'd have one belt down and then they're still battling, and it's just like, one belt is. Why are we still fighting for two more belts?
Why not?
Like you might as well if that's the case, you might as well.
Or whoever gets 2 first.
Like if they knock one person off the ladder and they only pull down one belt and the match is still going on, they might as well just stop the match and have like maintenance get a ladder up there and hang the belt back.
Well, why not do whoever gets 2 out of the 3 belts?
I mean that I can see. That makes
because it's a trios. Like, I understand with the tag titles, you can't have that where it's 1 and 1. But with the trios, whoever gets 2 out of 3 belts, I think that would add a little more intrigue to it. Because once he pulled off that first thing, everybody just stopped. Like, no one knew what was happening. They almost weren't cheering. Like, it was weird. It almost felt like the exploding ring deathmatch thing.
Well, I think the crowd kind of stopped because I think it was that it happens a lot in ladder matches, and I know what you mean. Well, when they, especially in tag team matches or whatever, but when they pull the belt down, the crowd I think is kind of anticipation of the match being over. So it's kind of like they're like holding their breath, kind of thing. Like, oh, is the match over? They're like waiting, kind of listening for the bell.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I don't know. What did you think, Brent?
Yeah, you're just sitting over there quiet right now.
Oh, yeah, that's abnormal.
Yes, I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I love some of the spots. I agree with Scals. They really didn't need that win. The way I wanted this to end was Death Triangle retain the titles. I wanted Bucks to leave Omega, have Omega do a singles run, have him get tired, have him get sick and tired of being with the Bucks, and say, you know what, I'm going on a singles run. Have him be babyface for singles.
Yeah, I mean, he already has 2 titles and he just came back. Like, is he the belt collector again? Like, are they ready to returning to this gimmick?
It's basically like a softcore return of the belt collector, I guess.
Yeah.
But no, I really enjoyed the match. I thought it was a phenomenal trios match. I think it was even better than the other trios match I had last year with what was it, United Empire and Death Triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was even better than that. So I liked it. I'm not shocked that the Elite won the titles back, and I don't truly have an issue with it. My only problem, or I guess question, that I have now that they're the trio champions again, is where do they go from here? Do we see another match with Death Triangle? Do we see them feud with House of Black? Do we see another out of the blue trios team be formed? And it's like, where do we go from here? That's what I'm curious
about. Well, they used to have so many teams, and now it seems like they don't have any.
Right. And it's like, so you know, it's just the progression. Where are we going from here? That's all. I don't mind them being champions. I have no problems with the Elite, because and the reason why I say that is because they had to work for it. I would have been more mad if they came back in the door when they first returned and won the titles the same night they came back. I would have had a major issue with that.
I mean, everybody thought it was happening.
Right. And I like that they put together a series of sorts to kind of make them work for this, them getting trio titles back. I liked how it was booked. I believe at one point in this series they were down like 3-1. So I mean, again, it wasn't like they came in and just dominated or whatever. Didn't win the titles in the first night, which was great. So I knew eventually at the end of this series that was the plan. They were going to win the trios titles back. So I'm not opposed to it, but I just don't really understand where. Like I just don't get where we're gonna
It
go from here.
it has to be
So
House of Black,
it
or
has to be.
or
It
like
has to be.
Flash also mentioned in the chat, best friends. That's the other option.
It has to be because I mean that's the only trios team they have right now that's red hot, and they have no direction right now.
Hmm.
Putting them in the trios title picture would give them some direction, some purpose.
So let's talk about the other phenomenal match that was on this show, the Bryan Danielson and Takeshita match.
Mm.
First off, got to give props to MJF for his little promo, calling him "take a shitta."
Bro, like that was a great poem. I love it.
I mean, it's a typical MJF promo. They all pretty much essentially say the same thing. It's kind of getting stale, but I like this little wrinkle he did with his name, and I mean, he approved of him saying it, so that was actually quite impressive.
Yeah.
But this was such a good match, and this was Takeshita's third best match of the week. So what does that tell you about him?
I mean,
He's
I
out.
guess really don't know much about him except for what I've seen on AEW. But from what I've seen, he really is enjoyable, and I think he's pretty good. But like I said, I don't really have much knowledge on him.
Yeah, well, you need to gain knowledge on him because he's going to be a star in AEW. And if they don't, then they're missing a big opportunity there because he has the crowd behind him already, and he barely has even spoken or done anything.
Right. I would like to touch on that a little bit. I'm like Prince. I don't know much about him. Um, my issue with him right now is the fact that it's not so much with him. It's with the direction that they're trying to take him. If because I've seen reports or whatever that they want to push him to being one of the top guys in the company. That's great. That's fantastic. I, however, think it'll fail because they're already putting him up against bigger names and they're not giving him those said wins. Like putting him up against Danielson on paper, that looks great. It was a great match as it played out. But we all knew, like, with Danielson and the feud with MJF, was losing that match.
Correct.
So already setting him up for failure, in my opinion.
Yeah.
They need to start him off smaller and then build him back up.
Sounds like sounds like a Vince thing.
I mean, like I said, it's just you know what I mean. It doesn't. It's not going to make sense in the long run to try to say they're pushing him to be a top guy in the company and then putting him up against people like Danielson or Ricky Starks or something like that. Like I know he's not going to win those matches. He's not. It doesn't make sense. So I don't know. Ultimately, he's great in the ring. As you said, Scouts, he hasn't even spoken a full sentence on the mic, and he's over already. But I'm just curious to see like how long is that going to last until it fizzles out because that's very possible.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take from his in ring ability, but it just again if they don't give him something to work with soon, I just don't see it going where they want it to go. So.
I mean, the other things that we could talk about on this show was the women's match between Saraya, Storm, Britt, and Hayter. And the crowd was just so let down after this match because they teased it and then nothing happened. And, I mean, you knew last week that she was not showing up when they announced Storm as the partner.
Right.
But Britt dropping that boss line in that promo still left the tease there that she might show up after the match.
Right.
And man, was that crowd disappointed?
Right. I mean, again, it's just kind of like back to what Prince was saying. I think I like this kind of thing where they tease certain stuff, but they don't give it to you just yet because they're trying to keep. It's like I think like they're trying to keep you guessing as to when it's going to happen. They want to surprise you. Obviously, I think it will eventually happen. We will eventually get Mercedes. When I don't know. What direction are they going to take that? No idea. I'm going to just let that play out. But yeah, it was a letdown because the crowd would have tore the roof off that place if they had been given what they wanted.
I have a feeling. I don't know why. I think she might show up at the Rumble. I have that feeling. And I have a feeling they're going to allow her to use her new name and her new music.
That'd be wild.
That would
be wild.
I think that was a part of the deal. We'll let you go to New Japan. You do what you need to do over there, and we'll even allow you to use your own name so you can make the money off of it. Because it was all about the money, and it was the reason why she didn't resign.
I mean,
if they added that in there, oh man, is that a huge win for WWE and for any wrestlers that sign with them going forward?
Facts. Yep. Either way, like I said, she is the hottest topic right now in women's wrestling, in my opinion. And wherever she goes, she's going to set that place on fire. So her stock is way, way up. So if she comes back at the Rumble, that will be, for me, that will be the highlight. Women's Royal Rumble.
I would love to see that come back. That would be awesome.
What else happened in the show? Because I'm like blanking out on anything else besides those main things.
We can touch on the Jungle Boy and Hook tag team match.
Oh, Jungle Hook. Happened. That's right. I forgot about that.
Yep.
And the other thing was the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Oh yeah, right.
All right.
So with the Jungle Hook tag team match, I thought that was a phenomenal tag team match. I'm really liking the makeshift tag team between Jungle Boy and Hook. And to touch on Hook, and this might be a hot take, but I honestly think I haven't even seen like 10 of Hook's matches, but I can honestly say that
there really hasn't been 10. I don't think.
Not on Dynamite, at least. No.
Right. Very true.
But the very little that I have seen of Hook in the ring, I can honestly say that, with all pun intended, I honestly think he is the Taz of this generation. Obviously, like everything about him just screams Taz. Like he goes in there and he's suplexing people all over the place or whatever. He's the new suplex machine. So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Obviously, I think Hook is a star. I really do.
He doesn't look like one.
He doesn't. I mean, he's like small in stature, but he's really strong.
Whoa, Flash! I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you, Cam. Flash, Jungle Boy is not trash. I'm sorry.
No,
absolutely not.
I don't know what you're referring to in with trash, but dude, when his music hits, everybody stops and they go. They just do it.
I'll tell you this with Hook, what I love about him, Cam, 100% agree, but he just seems so like cool, laid back, where he's like, and then that bell rings, then that's when the more tough, badass SOB comes out. But watching it come out to the ring, he's like, you got the hair in the face, and he's like, it's like I want to hang out with him. I don't want to fight him. I want to hang with him. Let's hang out.
he just looks like he doesn't give a shit. Like, he doesn't care what he looks like. He doesn't care what he's doing. But once that bell rings, that's it.
Yeah.
I love that. And that's why I think Hook honestly really has a bright future.
Mhm.
In AEW or anywhere else this man goes, the sky's the limit for this man.
He just needs to bulk up a little bit. Just a little. Because right now he just looks like a twig. Like,
Yeah, he's really skinny.
I'd say give him that physique like not
almost like Randy Orton. Randy Orton's not that big. He just he's defined and he has muscles. That's it. Like he built up the muscle mass. That's all he needs. Or like an old, a young Ted DiBiase Jr. when he first joined in WWE.
Right.
Cody even.
Yeah, when Cody was young, like as Cody built up. Now look at Cody. Like now he's like ready. Like he's like a star.
Cody's. Oh man, I can't wait till he comes back.
Soon. 15 days. 15 days. He's coming back at the Rumble. They would not be doing these promos every show if he was not.
Right.
No, wait, of course. I can't wait. I'm so amped.
I can't. You know what's happening, and I can't wait for it. Him and Seth are going to face off in that match.
Okay, for sure. But my only thing about there's probably two things about Hook. One is within the company. They need to get that pointless FTW title off him. It's like dead weight. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't do anything for him. They need to push him towards a TNT title picture. If you ask me, I think he's ready. He's beyond ready. Another thing about Hook that I think, and this is more his in-ring work. This is the thing I think he needs to work on. I think he just needs to work on like his timing. Like I think he gets in there and he's like so full of like adrenaline. Like he's moving so fast. Some moves don't come off like crisp, if you will. So I feel like he needs to kind of slow the pace of his matches and that timing in between like his move. Like it was the same thing that fun fact if you guys don't know this, it was kind of like when I guess Shawn Michaels was talking about young Shawn Michaels was talking about Rob Van Dam, and like and this is back when Rob Van Dam was like in ECW or whatever, and in his time in WWE or whatever. But he was asked about Rob Van Dam, and he was like, yeah, I like Rob or whatever, but I think he needs to work on his timing because it's just move after move after move after move. And I think it's the same thing with Hook. It's just he needs to work on, if he's going to do like a suplex, back to back or whatever, it needs to be like, spaced out, kind of smoothing out that face or whatever. But other than that, he's a natural. So, yeah, Hook is a star.
So in the chat, you had B Dave 1993 say Hook for the TNT title? Question mark. And then Flash replies, he has no mic skills. And then Kane goes, AEW doesn't own the FTW title. No, they don't own that. Taz does. That's why Hook has it.
Right.
But
in regards to the mic skills, I don't think he's been given a fair chance to even attempt to talk on a mic. So it's hard to know what he actually can do and what he can't. Like,
right.
I'm going to bring Dominic into this, but Dominic's skills on the mic have grown significantly since he's been with Judgment Day. I don't know if that's because of who he's partnered with, or they're just allowing him to be on the mic more and he's getting better as he does it. So I think that's just what Hook needs. Is he either needs somebody that can help him hone that skill, or he just needs practice at doing it.
Right. No, I totally agree with that.
So, anything else we want to talk about Dynamite, or we want to move along from this one?
I think you had mentioned something about the Jericho Appreciation Society.
Yeah, I just mentioned that they were on. I didn't know if I really wanted to talk about them.
Not really.
Okay.
Not much.
So I threw a vote in the chat before for the best part of Dynamite, and Adam Cole returned 3-2 over the Bryan versus Takeshita match. So what do we want to move on to next? You want to talk about NXT or you want to go over to Raw?
Yeah, let's go to NXT next.
Okay.
So NXT had a special episode, NXT New Year's Evil. Now, I don't know about either of you, or if you caught any of the show or whatever, but I thought this show was awful. This was like the worst NXT show they've done so far. It was bad. But probably the one, maybe two things I think I did sort of enjoy about the show. Well, one of them was Dijak. Dijak, formerly known as Dijakovic. Ever since him coming back and his sort of repackaging, if you will, it has been great. Like he's like the Terminator right now of NXT. It's kind of cool. So he's a big star. I like the match he had against Tony D'Angelo. So yeah, I honestly think he's going to be a big star. He's definitely ready for the North American Championship. If they don't put the North American title on him, it'd be a shocker if you ask me. So Dijak is great right now. I'm loving what they're doing with him. I didn't really like Jinder Mahal being there. Like that was kind of a shock, but I like it in a way because it gives Jinder Mahal something to do. We don't really see Jinder Mahal on Raw or SmackDown, so if he's going to be in NXT moving forward, cool. I'm cool with that. There's been a bunch of main roster talent that have gone either to NXT or back to NXT and have reinvented themselves. So I'm cool with Jinder Mahal being there. That's perfectly. So yeah, other than that, it was a bad show. Like it was just weird. Like it just felt thrown together. Like it just didn't feel like a complete show.
Prince, did you watch NXT?
I tried. I did enjoy the Dijak and Tony D'Angelo match. The main event was Braun Breaker and Grayson Waller. I didn't like how it ended. I think, yeah, I don't really have much information on this show. I actually did try to watch it, but the most I got through was Dijak, Tony D'Angelo, and bits and pieces of the main event, honestly. Like, I had it playing on in the background, but I just wasn't feeling it.
Oh man, I actually thought this show was pretty good. I mean, you had the the gauntlet match for the tag team titles, which started out as a little goof with Pretty Deadly bringing out these two jobbers as their first opponent, and then the NXT, and then New Day came out, and they're like, no, you're not gonna pull this shit. Here's who you're gonna fight, and they brought out Afe and Blade, which was a really good match between the two of them. After that, they brought out Bruce Jensen and the other guy. I can't think of their names, but they never showed up. They were attacked by a returning Gallus, who ended up winning, and I cannot wait to see that match between Gallus and New Day, because Gallus is ready for the main roster. And I don't know if they're still doing the whole NXT Europe thing, because that was talked about before this whole possibility of a WWE sale, which we'll get into in a little bit. But Gallus can be ready. I think they're ready for the main roster if they were to move up. Prince brought up the main event. Oh, go ahead, Cam. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying I agree. Go ahead.
Prince brought up the NXT World Championship match. Yeah, they pulled some funny shenanigans with the rope breaking in there. Not once, but twice. But yeah. I do like that they built a story from it, because now you're going to get a steel cage match between the two of them at Vengeance Day, which I think is where you will see Grayson Waller actually win the title. You're gonna have Braun Break. You're gonna have both of them. You might have one Braun Breaker show up at the Rumble with the belt to get some exposure on it, so people can tune into Vengeance Day. You'll have Braun lose, and then you'll see him a few weeks later debut on one of the two shows. That's what I think they're gonna do. The full outcome of that.
Okay.
I love
I
that.
don't. I don't. If they don't have Waller win this match, or at the end of it all, it will be a wasted amount, just a massive amount of time wasted. Because again, like I said, there's nothing. I've said this before. I've said this on past shows. There's nothing left for Braun Breaker to really do. He's definitely main roster ready. He's got the look. He's got the mic skills. He's got the in-ring ability. He's, he just is. He's absolutely ready. And he was a dominant champion. He was a great champion. But with each of these matches that he keeps winning, there's nothing left for him to do. He's pretty much beaten everybody there is to beat. So it just and if they're dragging this out, because I get it. I don't like the ending of the match itself at NXT New Year's Evil, but I get it. They're doing it for a couple of reasons, and one of those reasons would be they're protecting Grayson Waller because they know right now he's red hot. He's the biggest heel right now on NXT, and they're wanting to drag this out into Vengeance Day. So it makes perfect sense. But if Braun retains, it's just going to be like, well, why did you do X, Y, Z?
Right.
So, yeah, but either way, them in a steel cage match, I think, will hopefully be the culmination of a new champion because we desperately need one on NXT, and hopefully we get a call up of Braun Breaker after that.
I think with Braun Breaker going up to the main roster will be really good, and Grayson Waller finally getting that title will give him something new to go with and see how the crowd reacts when he finally becomes the champion. I think this is a good way of doing all that, bringing Braun up to the main roster and then giving Grayson Waller the title. Perfect send off for Braun going to the main roster.
Another thing I liked too was the return of Tiffany Stratton, somebody who I believe is highly underrated. I despise her gimmick, the whole daddy's girl thing. I don't like that at all. It's very cringe. But when I seen her in ring work, I'm like, okay, this is somebody who clearly has put in the time. She has clearly put in the work to into what she does, into her craft, if you will. So, yeah, when I seen her wrestle, I'm like, okay, she's obviously somebody who is already a gem that is just being overlooked right now. So, seeing her come back was awesome. I will say, though, her on the mic is awful. Like, she has like this, strong jaw, and she has kind of like this stoic look on her face a lot of times that I see her. But it's like she's one of those people that her voice does not match how she looks at all. She has like this really weird, like shrill kind of voice. It's weird. I'm like, no. No. If you're gonna push her, keep her off the mic. Get her a mouthpiece, please. And change her gimmick. The whole daddy's girl gimmick. It's not working. It's
you
not
literally
gonna get
just
over.
answered a question in the chat without even knowing it.
No, it won't work. But her in the ring is phenomenal. So I'm glad she's back. I'm ready for I'm ready for the evolution of her gimmick. I'm ready for the evolution of her character work, and seeing her rise in the ranks, and hopefully one day be champion. I think she'd be a great champion. So yeah, glad to see her back.
I'm all for Dijak. I love his gimmick. I love how the presentation of him. And obviously we know he's a phenomenal wrestler based off of his history even before this.
Right.
Prince, you have anything else to say? You're just like sitting there, all quiet.
Honestly, I'm still trying to get into NXT nowadays, so honestly, I'm just learning from you
He's
guys.
All right,
he's learning.
I'm just saying it's worrisome because you never stop
He's
talking.
normally
So
not talking.
If I don't stop talking, that I did what you guys are talking about. And I'm trying to get into every bit of wrestling because we have 13 hours Monday through Friday of wrestling just on TV alone. Just on TV alone. We
are you,
got maybe 5 hours on YouTube.
are you counting Impact?
I'm counting
Okay,
everything.
because I don't have Impact, so it's tough for me to watch. Um, I tried to get into it. I had the Impact subscription on YouTube, but what annoyed me with that was they didn't start till 8:30, and then you were behind. Like it wasn't live. It was stupid how they did it. They used to do it live on Twitch for free, and I was watching it every week, and the show was great. But also, and I enjoyed Jinder Mahal coming back. Don't hinder the Jinder.
a lot of people.
He fits with them with Veer and Sangha, and
Yeah.
it just was a perfect way to reintroduce him. And I feel that he's not going to be down there long. It's just going to be a short term thing, and then he'll be
Right.
back up. But it's a way to get him back into people's minds of being someone that can be relied on to wrestle.
Right. One last thing, and then we can move on from NXT. The only last thing I want to touch on NXT was the women's battle royal to determine the number one contender for the NXT Women's Championship. I heard a lot of complaints about people saying that all the disrespect of Cora Jade because she was the first eliminated. I'll say this: at first I was upset about it too, and I still am sort of upset about it because I don't think it needed to happen the way it did. But they're obviously, again, it's kind of like with the Grace Waller thing and Braun Breaker. They're biding their time until Vengeance Day. I would think because we all know the money feud is Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez, money, period.
One.
So
I'm going to say one thing on that. It's not. I don't think it's for Vengeance Day. I think that one is being saved for WrestleMania weekend.
it's possible.
That's
It
what
is
I
very
think.
possible.
That's what I think that match is being saved for because that'll be a bigger
Bigger
audience
stage.
and a bigger
Yeah.
stage.
No, that makes sense. But they're saving it for a bigger date, as you said. And so that's why I don't think it's a major problem. Now the ending of it, I think saw Toxic Attraction be the last two, I believe, in the match,
Right.
Yeah.
and they were eliminated at the same time.
Mhm.
Now making it a triple threat match. Now I have a problem with this because Toxic Attraction has already suffered enough as a group, as we already know, losing the biggest member, the member that brought them together in the first place. So they don't. If they're signaling towards them breaking up, I'm against that completely because they are at the centerpiece of the tag team division for the women's division. You break them up, you just don't have a lot of other tag teams unless you just keep pulling single wrestlers together and calling that a tag team. So it's like don't really, and we know how. I mean, we already know. At least we should already know how that triple threat match is going to play out. It's going to be JC Jane and Judy Dolan pretty much handicapping Roxanne Perez the entire match until they decide that they're going to fight each other. So I don't know. That was very odd, but like I said again, in the back of my head, I understand it because they're trying to give Roxanne Perez something to do with her title run until we get ultimately the big time feud with her and Cora Jade. So
Yeah, I mean, I was okay with the result. Um, I just don't like what it is going to do, like what you said. But I don't think it's going to lean towards them breaking up. I think it's just going to cause that little dissension in that match, and then that'll be it. and then they'll destroy her after the match is over, and then they'll be still a tag team and eventually get called up and win the tag titles from Damage Control.
Yeah.
So, overall, what was your thoughts on NXT?
NXT, I give it a 3 out of 5.
I give it roughly around the same thing.
I'm just gonna agree with you guys on this one. Plays with NXT a little bit, so don't mind me. I apologize for that.
All right. So now we're gonna move on to Monday Night Raw.
Yep.
Did you watch this one, Prince?
Yes.
All right. So you want to start talking on this one, since you had a nice little break?
I remember I watched it, but you guys gotta help refresh my memory. Honestly, I remember, but once it's brought up, then I'll remember.
So you had the tag team turmoil for the shot at the Raw Tag Team Championship, and that went about an hour.
Yes, so that was alright, so that was Street Profits, Judgment Day, who else was in there?
Street Profits, Judgment Day. You had Alpha Academy,
Alpha Academy, thank you.
and then you had the OC.
And the OC.
No, you couldn't have the OC in there because. Oh no! Right. I forgot. You still have
Gallows and Anderson.
Gallows and Anderson. Yeah.
So, I honestly kind of thought that we were gonna get Street Profits versus the Usos. I was kind of surprised seeing the outcome that we got. Like, I wasn't completely shocked. I just thought this was one of those moments where we were gonna revisit history and bring back Street Profits versus the Usos for the tag team. Judgment Day and the Usos, very unique. I didn't think we would see something like that coming, so this is great for Judgment Day because now we're finally doing something with them. So I love that aspect because for me, Judgment Day, the only good thing that kept Judgment Day alive, in my opinion, was the whole Dom and Rhea. And now that Priest and Finn are finally getting that spotlight to go for the tag titles is really great. This puts Judgment Day as a whole back in the main state. Now, whether they win or not, I feel like there's a decent chance that they could possibly win. And if it's not, this is, I forget, when are we doing this at the Rumble, right?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Maybe they win, or if they don't win, they could probably get maybe another month out of it, or probably 2 months, or something. You know, WrestleMania season is slowly approaching. You know, so Judgment Day versus the Usos, round 3 at Mania.
No, I don't know if that's gonna end up happening. I still think they're leaning towards KO and Sammy at Mania versus them.
Fair enough. Okay. But if not Rumble, then whatever the next pay-per-view will be.
I definitely to touch up on
The time. Sorry, Cam.
you're good. To touch up on that, yeah, I like what Prince said. You basically said exactly what I was going to say. But with the Judgment Day, I like them winning. We also saw, before I say that, we also saw the Hurt Business in that match, I believe. The Hurt Business was put back together. I did not like that. I did not like that because I just didn't like them throwing the Hurt Business back together just to have them lose. I feel like they need, if they're gonna commit to putting back the Hurt Business together, I feel like they
Okay.
They have to build. They have to rebuild their reputation because they've already ruined it once. So
So let me touch on that real quick before you move on. Um,
okay.
they are doing such a good job with this of rebuilding the Hurt Business because they're doing the slow build and the tease. The week before, you saw MVP talking to them. Now, Cedric and Shelton always tagged, even after the Hurt Business. They never fought against each other. So this is just them two tagging. This has nothing to do with the Hurt Business yet. MVP was not involved. You saw MVP talking to Lashley, though.
Yeah.
And Lashley turned him down right now. But the opportunity there is, and the offer is still open for something down the line. So eventually, we're gonna get that back where they're gonna build, and then they're gonna be the dominant faction taking on probably Judgment Day and the OC. But I don't think this was really the Hurt Business. More so of Cedric and Benjamin needing MVP to help them. I think this was a starting point in them realizing that they actually do need the Hurt Business back together.
Right. But I think that the Judgment Day winning this tag team turmoil, I think, was a great showcase of them as a faction. Because before then, I mean, they pretty much did everything as a group, or it was just Rhea, Dom, Rhea, or Finn Zone, or Damian Priest with any combination of the other three. We never really seen them do, or I can't say never, but we haven't seen them do much of tag team stuff. So it's refreshing to see the Usos get a brand new tag team that we haven't seen them face before for the titles. So that is refreshing to see, and it's huge. I mean, the Usos versus Judgment Day, that's pretty big. So I definitely liked how they are showcasing Judgment Day as a tag team now, and giving them this big opportunity to go against the Usos. So that was executed perfectly, I think. So yeah.
So outside of that, we had the segment with Theory and Seth Rollins, which I thought was genius.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, Theory come out running his mouth as always, because that's what Theory does. And then you had Seth come out walking on the crutches, and he hasn't said anything after last week, when he left the ring, had to be carried out by Pierce and everything, and not Pierce. Who was the one that was at the ringside? Corey Graves.
Yeah.
And the ref, and there was no update on whether he was hurt or not. So when he walked out with the crutches, the whole crowd just like felt deflated. They're like, "Oh man, he's not going to be here for the Rumble." And then he tosses them and starts dancing, and the crowd just went nuts. It was great.
Yeah, that was executed perfectly. And let's talk about the idea that he utilized social media, and he went on there and said, "Oh, redesign, rebuild, reclaim," and everybody, including me, was like, "No way, he's hurt! Like, come on, that's craziness." So to see that, then of course coming out with the crutches, it was perfect. It was executed, just it was genius, like you said, Scott. I have no idea what else to say about it. It was perfect. So yeah, that whole storyline between them two is going better than I even expected to. So yeah, Seth Rollins, like I said, that's why people love Seth Rollins so much. Seth Rollins just puts on
No matter what he does,
right.
it is great.
It's great.
The thing, we got one of the best right now, Seth Rollins, with the future of WWE, Austin Theory. This man, 25, 26 years old. I mean, this man's destined to be greatness. look at him. He's got the physique. He's got the. He knows how to speak. He knows how to work in the ring. This man has it all. Seth Rollins will also has it all, and when it comes to bringing that person up there even more. So having Seth Rollins and Theory go back and forth like this is amazing. And when I saw Seth Rollins come out with the crutches, I was sad. But then
Yeah, so is everybody else, Prince. So is everybody else.
but with that, seeing seeing how Theory reacted was great. And then you see Seth throw the crutch, and you see his Theory's face go from a smile to like, damn. And then here comes Seth Rollins with that big smirk on his face. It was awesome, man. It was great. Them two bounce off each other so well that it's just so great seeing them two work together like that.
Yeah, they're actually very well together. But I mean, Seth can work with pretty much anybody. He's
Yeah.
just a master of his craft. He just loves doing what he's doing, and it's so good, so good. What else happened on Monday?
Um,
I'm
what
trying
else
to
did
think. See what else I put in the poll. Ah,
Oh, you had Dominic come back, and it's funny because people were like, he looks like a knockoff Conan or whatever. Oh yeah.
Uh, they tried way too hard with that. I couldn't help but laugh.
I'll say this. I'll say this. Dom, while he looked goofy, I kind of like it, and I'll tell you why. Because it actually kind of gives him something to his character. Again, it's all about that evolution. It's all about that progression in his character.
right. And this is what I was saying
So
before. This is what I mentioned before, but with about Hook. Dom is finally given a chance to do stuff, and it's only going to help him.
right.
They said first he looked like his uncle, now he looks like his other uncle, going from Eddie to Cody.
Jeez.
I was looking at some of them the other day, and one of them was I think one of them was San Andreas Vice City with him on the
Yeah.
cover.
Oh my god.
Everybody say he's like a GTA character.
Yeah.
Good.
Oh, the other one was Saints Row with all them in the back. And Don doing that little nail down pose. I'm
Yeah.
like, yo, that was
Good.
great comedy.
The Miz was funny in that segment too. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you were in jail for like 30 minutes.
Yeah. I'm like, hard time. Yeah, 30 minutes is hard time. Trust me. Yeah.
Another segment on the show was the Alexa Bliss explains all. Now, I loved the way she did the promo, like how she just got on top of the announce table. There was no music. You didn't even know she was there. All of a sudden, she just started talking, and then you had Uncle Howdy come out, and he didn't say anything. This was the worst part of it. Is that was it? Like they just cut to a commercial, but she didn't seem affected by him so much this week as opposed to in the past. So is she gaining control of it? Does she know how to keep them out? You don't know. And that's what's intriguing to me about it. Is I want to see how this develops going forward. And if you guys watch Raw Talk,
No.
Did not.
so she had a little promo on Raw Talk and said that she's the one that's in control of her own destiny. So I'm curious as to how they're going to go with this. And I do like that they are starting to use Raw Talk in order to progress storylines too. It's going to actually make me want to watch it now. The only reason I watched it is because I saw that she was going to be on there.
Right.
The only other thing that I remember from Raw was the KO segment to start the show. When Baron Corbin and JBL came out and Kevin Owens took a nap on the turnbuckle.
Yeah, I would. With
And said, "Are you done? Because that was the most boring 3 minutes of my life," or something along those lines.
something like that. Just seeing the look on Kevin Owens' face, and then walking over to the. Like, he didn't even want to be there at all. That was so. Yeah. It was good. It was good for a nap, though. It was.
Yes. Anytime Corbin comes out, I'm ready for a nap. Especially if he's
So,
got to talk. If he's wrestling, that's fine, because he's actually good in the ring. But when he gets on the mic,
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't.
The greatest thing about Baron Corbin's mic skills, right, is that this is perfect. He really is great on the mic, especially if you got kids that are like 5 years old. Let them watch a Baron Corbin promo. Yeah, we know. Let me tell you. Oh my God, I
Oh.
couldn't get my 3-year-old niece to sleep. I played a Baron Corbin promo right before he started speaking. She was knocked out. Guaranteed to work or your money back. Trust me, it works.
That's insane.
Knocked out like Debo.
Anything else you can think of, Cam?
I think that's about it.
So overall, what was your score for Raw?
I gave Raw a 2.97 out of 5.
I give it a 3.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Prince on this one, the 3.5, just because the tag team turmoil match. I really enjoyed everything involved with that. I liked how they, which I don't think we mentioned before, how they subbed out Finn during the match because of his injury or supposed injury, and then Dom had to take over. So I liked how they developed everything throughout the night that led to that match.
I do got one question for you guys.
Okay.
So now, Judgment Day getting this spot, right? I'm guessing Dom completely takes over that spot for Finn if he's supposedly injured. Am I correct on that?
That would be the only way to go, I would assume.
Okay, cool. Because if he's really hurt, then yeah. If not, then what was the point of all that going on?
Well, just to try and make him prove his point, his allegiance, I guess, to him, and being able to stand up in like a quick spot.
Like the bloodline with Sam.
Okay. All right. Now I get. All right.
All right. What else we want to discuss, Cam? Was there anything else big that happened this week in wrestling?
Yes, actually. So people were freaking out over the sale of WWE.
What was this? This was Tuesday night, right? After NXT? Hold on. I somehow went... Oh, no. The stream ended. What happened? I'm still recording. Oh, man, what happened? What just happened? I've never seen this happen. I think we're back. You guys still there?
Yep.
All right. It says we're back. We're back live. Okay.
Good.
Yeah, we're live. Go ahead.
Okay. So, of course, everybody was losing their minds over the sale of WWE, and there was reports that they had sold to Saudi Arabia or whatever, and everybody was like, "Oh my goodness, this is catastrophic. This is the apocalypse of the WWE. Of course, it came out that was false, obviously. So that right there is like the biggest news right there. Is who are they going to sell to? Who's going to buy at WWE?
Disney.
Personally, I hope it's Endeavor. Endeavor is the parent company that owns UFC, and I hope it's them. Honestly, it just kind of makes more sense to me. Um, yeah. Regardless, I think they're in good hands. I think every wrestling fan can take a deep breath and exhale because I think we're good.
I'm holding you to that, Cam. Cam, I'm gonna question our friendship if we're on that. Sorry, buddy. I'm gonna question our friendship, and I'm holding you to that.
Hey, like I said, I think we're good, Fred. I think we are.
I hope so.
So I want Comcast or Disney to buy it. And the reason for that is Comcast has their own TV. They own NBC Universal. So they already have to deal with Raw. They could also move over to NBC on a Friday night instead of Fox. They already have Peacock. So it's all together. And then if you do with Disney, you have the other way. There's ESPN. There's ABC. And then they have Disney Plus. So everything is all built into one thing. UFC, I would hate because then you have to go to Fight TV. And I don't like Fight TV at all. It might cause me to start watching pay-per-views.
From what I understand, if Saudi does buy it, Vince McMahon is back in creative. But if Disney, Comcast, or Endeavor buy it, what does that mean? Is the creative team still intact?
Okay. So let me explain. The only way Vince can go back into creative is if you have a company buy it and they go back to being private.
Okay.
Because the SEC filing that was done with Vince coming back was that he is only coming back to facilitate any TV deals or the possibility of a sale within WWE. He cannot get involved in any of the day-to-day activities officially. That doesn't mean he's not going to and try to, like has been reported today through Fightful, where Triple H has said nothing is changing, but Vince has told Triple H things, but Triple H has the final say on stuff.
Okay.
So
good.
there are layers to this, but essentially the only way that Vince can even come back into any type of role within the company is if the company goes private. And if that happens, it is going to take a long time for the sale to go through because they have to go through the stock exchange, the shareholders, they have to vote on it, and everything else. Because the shareholders will lose their rights after this. So I don't know how the entire process of it, I'm not involved in any of that, but that's just, there's a lot to it and people don't realize it.
And see, that's when you say, he can't get involved in the day-to-day creative process, doesn't mean he's not going to. That part there is what scares me. Because I just don't trust anything about Vince. Like, knowing his creative process, knowing how he wants it, it's like that scares me. Like,
Oh,
I feel like there's going to be some loophole, some tiny loophole. He goes around all of that and ends up back in creative.
there is no loophole. The only way he does it is if he tries to do it. It is an immediate lawsuit and potential severe penalties from the SEC themselves because it's of how it is filed.
He's
And
not afraid of that. He's
Yes,
not afraid.
but if it causes him to lose the company, he will be. Because it's not like this stuff from 10, 12 years ago where he paid off somebody with 12 million. It is potential loss of the company because he already has one lawsuit on his hand from shareholders
Right.
because of what he did to come back. So there are lots of things that happen if he does try to break the filing that he did.
Right. Yeah, like I said, it's just I'm not so much too concerned with the sale of the company and shareholders and things like that. I don't know anything about. I told Shadow this multiple times, but I don't know anything about the business end of WWE. I don't even understand most of it. Don't really care to. It hurts my brain to even try to figure it out. But the creative process, the creative role, the creative direction, creative team, that's what I care. I care about that more than anything else. And
Oh, trust
you
me,
know,
I do too.
I hear people telling me, and based off reports that what he said and things like that, and what Stephanie said and what Triple H has said, that nothing's changing and things like that. I hear you, but I don't hear you. If you get what I'm saying, because it doesn't feel like nothing's going to change. Because you got people resigning, you got people that were let go coming back. You got Stephanie, which was a big part of the creative leadership left. So it's like doesn't feel like nothing's going to change. It feels like we're headed towards a huge change.
Holy. Obviously, none of you have watched Rampage because we were on the air tonight. Um, but I'm gonna show something real quick because this is kind of insane.
I don't know.
So, on the screen right now, you see Anna Jay attempt to get put through a table and completely misses the table and hits the floor. Yeah. So, I don't know if she's okay. I don't know any context behind it, but Shadow sent this to me and he's like, just show this on air. So I had to show it because that's pretty bad.
Gee, I hope she's okay.
Yeah, I hope she's okay because I actually do like her on there. But yeah, that's pretty bad.
That's like the spot that I can't think of her name. Julia took a
Yeah.
while back.
Mm-hmm.
He flew from the apron and missed the table completely. Yeah, that's bad.
Oh, Flash is saying it was taped on Wednesday night and they're just airing it tonight. So if she was injured, we probably would have heard something by now.
Oh yeah, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, on Tuesday night, everybody was freaking out with this sale. Like everybody. We came on. We had a impromptu show. We were talking about it, but it was so good.
There was just so much.
Oh man,
There,
Shadow is sending me stuff like man.
What were you saying, Prince?
Sorry, Prince.
no, you good. There was just so much. See, luckily I got friends to break stuff down, like the business part, because like you can't, don't understand it, don't really care to. Curiosity gets the best of me, and it's like I have to know the breakdown in order to be like, all right, cool, brain, chill. Because once my brain gets going with the curiosity, I have to know. I do. But I
Right.
don't really care to know, but enough to where curiosity is getting the best of me.
Enough to where you somewhat understand what's going on.
Yes, exactly.
But I
Makes
mean,
sense.
everybody was speculating what would happen to Sami Zayn, what would happen to all the women on the roster.
Right.
Nothing. Nothing would
Yeah.
happen. Because all the Saudis would do if they bought it is supply the money. That's it. They're not going to change
Oh,
the day to day things on there. They're not going to cause the women, to be more covered. The only person that might walk out if he doesn't want to deal with them would be Sami Zayn, I think. But I don't think
Yep.
he would because he's a man, he would honor his contract.
Yep.
So, honestly, like the Saudi investment group, the fund, they invest in so many things that you probably don't even know half the things they invest in,
Right.
and that you already enjoy and watch. So,
Fair enough.
don't let it bother you. Don't let it think of what will change, because honestly, nothing will probably change. You'll still have wrestling. Well, sorry, not that nothing will change because Vince will be back in creative, so that is a big change. But I'm saying in regards to WWE itself, like nothing will change in the way that things are done. They're not going to all of a sudden force all the women to leave the company because of their ideals in their own country. Like that's not going to happen. I don't want to give
That
you like it's just I don't want you guys to think that. But yeah, go ahead, Prince.
my biggest fear right there was the women's division. That was the biggest thing that was going through my head that whole night was how is this gonna affect each of those women? How is this gonna affect the like what is this gonna do? And honestly, after hearing you say that, okay, cool. I can relax about it now because that for a while I was just
So
where go.
So you know, okay. So Flash mentioned a couple people that they are invested in. One's Bank of America. The other one is Live Nation. Another is Twitter.
Hmm.
They are the biggest supporter and provider investor for Elon Musk when he bought Twitter. They are also an
Okay.
investor for Disney. So they are in a lot of places that you don't realize.
Oh,
And what has changed with those?
nothing.
Exactly. Now,
I never knew.
Shadow just brought up a topic. Why does Ricochet and Top Dollar gotta qualify, but everybody else just declares?
Good point.
Yo, Shadow, I'm so glad you brought that
Yeah.
up because the one thing I'm tired of them doing, and this kind of goes a little bit back to SmackDown, whatever, because they kept talking about it heavily on SmackDown, but I kind of get the impression that they've got something planned, something big planned for the Royal Rumble because I get it. It's one of their big shows, but they're heavily talking about the Royal Rumble, and they keep talking about the participants and things like that. The one thing I wish they stopped doing is
That would be
having
an
people.
elimination from the Rumble.
I wish they'd stop having people announce that they're in the Rumble. Oh, I'm in the Royal Rumble. Like let the Royal Rumble be organic. I don't want to know who's in the Royal Rumble. I don't want you announcing it. I don't even want qualifying matches. Just have the match be, hey, we're announcing this 30-minute Royal Rumble. We get it. We don't need to keep seeing who's in the Royal Rumble. We don't need to keep seeing people have promos of them announcing they're in the Rumble year after year after year. It's just stale to me. It doesn't make sense.
And they keep mentioning, oh, they would have been eliminated from the Rumble with that move. So
They could,
something has to happen this year that they're doing this
yeah,
because they've never done this before.
yeah, yeah. Heavy promotion. So
But I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happened this week in regards to what was on the shows, the potential sale of WWE, Stephanie stepping down, which we haven't even touched on that yet at all. I think the only reason she was there at all is because her dad was forced away. And once he decided to come back, she's like, okay, now I can leave again. Like, that's the only reason I think she was there, is because she technically could have been his mouthpiece while he was gone.
true.
That is very true, Kane. The only person that we need to know that is in the Rumble is Kofi.
That's facts.
Shadow, we did get a promotional video for Raw 30 this week on SmackDown tonight, which we were
I was
talking about this
excited.
the other night. They have not mentioned it at all, and now they are. So maybe they are starting to build it up a little bit, but it was the first time we actually got a promotional an ad for it. So I was intrigued by that.
I thought it was great too. I like it. I'm wicked excited. 30
I
years,
really
man.
hope they do a new set design for that show. And
I
that
think they.
that's the new set for Raw. They need to go back to having sets for Raw and sets for SmackDown.
Two separate sets.
But
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to do that before the media deals. That's the problem.
No, I don't think they will.
But was there anything else you wanted to touch on tonight, fellas?
That's about it, man. That's all I got.
So, we went for almost an hour and 40 minutes. Had the little hiccup in the middle where we got disconnected for about 30 seconds. Still don't know how that happened. Kind of annoyed that it did happen. But overall, I think this was a pretty enjoyable week in wrestling, and it's only going to get better with the Rumble coming up in 15 days, and then we're on the road to WrestleMania. You're going to have AEW pay-per-view. Which one is that? Is that Full Gear? Or is that Revolution?
It's
No.
Revolution.
Revolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to have Revolution. Exciting time for wrestling. There's going to be more talks about the sale of WWE. So, yeah, I mean, we want you here along with the ride with us. Like, we enjoy doing this. We enjoy bringing this show out to you. Cam and Prince, we are glad to have them as a part of Off the Top. It makes the show that much better. So, Prince, let us know where you can find you.
So you guys can find me at Arkham Prince. And you can find me at MJK92113 on TikTok. And you can catch me every Saturday night at 11 o'clock Eastern Time, Prince's Media Corner, presented by Off the Top Podcast. We talk movies, talk TV shows, Marvel, DC. If it's on the big screen, we talk about it. If it's on the little screen, we talk about it. Check it out tomorrow night. We're talking about the Master of Horror, Stephen King himself, the man, my uncle, which I like to think. Tomorrow night, 11 o'clock Eastern Time. Yeah, buddy.
Cam, what about you?
You can find me on TikTok at Cam's Wrestling Corner. You can also follow me on Instagram at 317 Bacon, Eggs, and Cam.
Yes! It's been a while since we heard that.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
Yeah, and we are Off the Top. We are on TikTok with our new updated name of Off the Top Media. It is also the same on YouTube. You can find us there. In the chat, I have dropped 2 links. One is our merch shop, which features Off the Top merch, features Occam Prince's merch, as well as Shadows. There's a whole bunch of merch out there. Check it out. Take a look. And then I threw our Discord server in there. It is mostly about wrestling, but we are integrating entertainment with TVs, movies, and gaming as well. So hit up the link, join the server, have a great time. Catch you guys on the flip side. Check us out tomorrow night for Occam's show. If not, we'll see you back next week. Have a good evening.